And welcome to the Train Your Team to Create Content workshop. I'm going to give it a moment for folks to join on in live. If you are watching the replay, hi, hello, welcome. You can say hi in the chat, even if you're watching the replay. There are a lot of links that I'll be sharing in the live chat, but you can definitely check out those links on in the first comment as well. Now, for those of you who are live, just so I can make sure you can hear me, you can see me, comment with where you're joining in from today. I'd love to see it. I'm just going to give it just another sec for folks to show on in, and I'm going to change my layout here a little bit so that this is just a little less crowded. Tell me where you're tuning in from today. I am in gorgeous Fort Erie, Ontario. It is a really gloomy day, but I kind of like it. I don't know if it's just like Stockholm syndrome or what, but I really like the over cloudy kind of grayness of today. It makes me want to curl up with a book and have a good time. But a lot of the examples that I'm using in today's workshop are from my own small town, my own local small town, which I love so much. I love to see it. I love to hear it. And if you are kind of in my area, let me know. Let me know. All right, so let's talk about our workshops today. My goal is to give you clarity. I don't want you to have something super complicated that no one on your team knows how to implement. Okay. I don't want you to have this feeling that you're shouting into the void, you're all alone. I want you to feel confident that not only do you know what should be going out on social media, but your team also knows what should be going out on social media as well. But if you're new here, hi, hello. I am Andréa Jones. I am a marketing nerd, Fort Erie resident, and the person your friend probably tagged you in this help me with my social media post. But I used to run an agency for 11 years. I sold that agency last year, and these days I teach marketing, specifically human first marketing, kind of marketing that works without the chaos, and especially for those of you who are here today for local business. I see Jemmy. Hey, Jemmy. I see Nia from New York. Hello, hello. I see someone from Calgary. Hi, Ashioma. Welcome. Okay, so we're going to warm up the chat. I want you to choose your catitude in the chat. Just type a number for whichever one you relate to. What I will say as well is I like these workshops to be interactive. So my questions about where you're located and the catitude are kind of like a light way for us to get a sense of how much active participation we're going to have in the chat today. I will say I am feeling like cat number 6 today, very hyper. I don't know. It's just my mood today. I'm in a great mood. Just cat number 6 is what I'm feeling. Abby is coming in from Houston. Hey, Abby, how are you? If you see me looking down, that's because I am looking at the chat. And then, keep the chat coming. I see Nia is a 6 as well. Twinning. I like the 6 personality, though I feel like later today I'm going to be cat number 1 with all those bottles of wine. I have a 4 from Abby, kind of sleepy. Yeah, that's all right. All right, let's dive into today's session. What you can expect today is that I'm going to help you with a step-by-step system that you and your team can actually follow. I want to give you some real examples of local brick and mortar businesses. I'm going to talk about how you can do this yourself or have your team do it using only your phone. Okay, we don't need to have complex camera equipment for any of this. And then I also want to give you some time-saving tips, really to get the content off of your plate. Because if you're here, you probably have a team member who you really want to get help with social media, or they're already helping you and it's not working. Okay, so we're going to talk about that today. And then I'm going to give you 2 options for working with me after the session. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and put that link in the live stream chat right now. This is the session that I would love for everyone to join on in. And I'll have more details at the end, but essentially you could get your free audit from me if you go through the link in the chat. Though I don't know if it's going in the YouTube chat, but it will be, I'll pin it to the top of the chat after in the recording. All right. So a lot of us, when it comes to social media, we're having a big disconnect with our team. We feel like we've hired someone or we're about to hire someone, and we feel like it's not working. They're posting stuff. Maybe the stuff that they're posting is random. There's just no connection with any of it. And this is a common challenge that I work with a lot of business owners, is that they feel like it should be different than it is. And it's not going for them the way that they want it to. Okay. And usually the first challenge is the owner. You, as the owner, are overwhelmed when it comes to content creation. You're doing it all, and you're doing it all, and you're still feeling like you're actually adding more work by outsourcing it. The second thing that is happening right now is your team can be posting stuff. Your team can be posting stuff, but you're not quite sure why they're posting. Yeah, Nia says, yeah, that's happening in my client's business right now. Your team is posting stuff and you don't know what it has to do with your business. You don't know how it connects with your offers, and it doesn't reflect you, it doesn't reflect your brand voice, and it's definitely not speaking to your local community. And you feel like your content is inconsistent, especially if it's not getting engagement, or if that engagement is really low or unrelated. And I don't want you to play the blame game in this particular instance, because sometimes it can be easy to go, oh, well, I guess this is my team's fault. I'll fire a team and get a new team. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen business owners do this. It's not usually the team fault. It's usually a systems problem. So it's not necessarily a content problem. It's usually a systems problem. And what's happening is you, as the owner, have all of these beautiful ideas in your head, and your team is really struggling to see those beautiful ideas in your head because they're not in your brain. Okay. So we're going to create a new game plan for this process. The old way of, I hope I remember to post today, or just ask my teacher how to post a reel, is out. Okay, that old game is out, and the new game plan looks like this. First, we're going to build a digital brain. This is going to be you taking your brain and putting it into a system so that your photos, your videos, your stories, your messages, what you want to be known for, is clearly outlined so that anyone can come in and implement it. We're going to, I'm going to do a live demo on how to capture content in the moment. You don't have to have a studio shoot. You don't have to have professional filters or photographers or have a videographer follow you around. We're going to just use our phones today. Naya says, or Nai, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, says, oh my gosh, I just told another client today I'm not a mind reader. Yeah. So we're going to have a system to capture the day-to-day content. We're going to organize it so that everyone can use it. No more having random videos saved on an old team member's phone. We're going to give your team clear roles and tools so that everyone is organized. They know what they're supposed to do and when they're supposed to do it. And then we're going to follow a simple weekly rhythm that is repeatable, a rhythm that is realistic. Even if you only have someone helping you out for a couple hours a day, this rhythm should really help you get into a process so that you have consistent content going out on your socials. So by the end of today's session, you're going to walk away with that game plan, not just some notes app thing. Okay. Now, to facilitate today's session, my co-facilitator's name is Marisol. If y'all have been in any of my programs, you know I love a character. And Marisol is one of my newest characters in my little character suite. I don't know how to call this. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about her because she is you. She has the same challenges as you. So she owns a local bakery that is popular on TikTok and with the neighborhood regulars. She's not afraid to post content at all. She loves posting content, and it's gotten her pretty far. And it works. It's things like frosting cupcakes. She shares little conversations with customers. She creates videos about her new flavors. But that's all on her, and everything lives in her head. She has no systems. She doesn't have a schedule. She just posts when she feels like it. So thankfully, she feels like it most of the time, but she doesn't have any backups either. All of that content is on her phone. And when business is slow, she does post more, but she really relies on when she happens to remember it. And she knows what's working, but she's kind of getting tired. And the unpredictability is creating a challenge in her business as her business grows. So she's bringing in her cousin to help her. Her cousin Anna is going to come and help her. But Anna comes in and has no idea what to do because Marisol has no idea how to hand it off. She doesn't even know where to start with explaining her business because she knows it so intimately. She knows it inside and out. It can be challenging for her. So we're going to start with the Clarity Corner. Now, the Clarity Corner is going to be our 3 W's. If you've been hanging out with me before, you know the 3 W's. I want to see your 3 W's in the chat. Okay, so if you feel brave, I want to see them. If this is your first time, let's go through the 3 W's. So the first W is what do you sell? We want to keep this very specific to your offer. We don't want to get too fancy with it. Okay, we want to be specific. So for me, my what do I sell would be the Mindful Marketing Lab. Okay, what do you sell? Mindful Marketing Lab. Who is it for? Is the type of person who would benefit from your offer. Okay, I want us to be specific. Psychographics here, not necessarily the demographics. So for example, I could say I work with mostly women, mostly ages 30 to 50 worldwide, but that is still a lot of people, okay? When in reality, I work with small business owners and marketers, online business owners. Typically, they have they're solo, so they're doing it themselves, or they have a small team who's supporting them. Those are my people, okay? And then the why does it matter is the most important part of the 3 W's here, because the why does it matter really is that transformation that you help your clients and customers bring. So for you and your business, we're talking about when before they come into your location, how are they feeling? And then after they leave your shop, your location, your storefront, how are they feeling? Okay. And focus on the feelings here because a lot of our buying decisions are based off of feelings. Question in the chat says, I'm a virtual consultant. Can I still answer? Yes, you still can. I'd love to see your answers. Okay. So what do you sell? Who is it for? Why does it matter? And that why does it matter really focuses in on the transformation. So I'll use my own program here as an example. In the Mindful Marketing Lab, I could talk about how we have a course on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on TikTok, on YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. But as soon as I start saying that, it sounds like a lot of work. So ultimately, what I help people do is like before coming into our program, they feel lost, they feel overwhelmed and confused. After, they feel confident and they have clarity. Okay, you see how those are feelings. Now let's go through Marisol's 3 W's here for an example. So she sells small batch baked goods, uh, cupcakes, cookies, seasonal treats made from scratch in her family-owned bakery. Her who is it for is for local people with sweet tooths. She has a lot of families coming in and TikTok savvy people who like discovering hidden gems. So they like to come in and film themselves in her shop. And then the why does it matter is because her shop feels like home. You see how that's a feeling? Every treat tells a story. Her content brings in people before they even taste a bite. It's about the connection, really a connection to her community and not just cupcakes, okay? Not just baked goods, but it's really a third space almost that she's creating for her community. All right, so we're going to do a mini exercise. I want you in the chat, those of you live, and if you're watching the replay, I'd love to see this as well. Pick one of your offers and tell me, what do you sell? Who is it for? And why does it matter? We've got one in the chat from Nia, Nai. I'm so sorry, I'm saying your wrong, your name wrong. Okay, let me go over to the chat over here. Okay, sell, get visible, and know your numbers, a GPT setup and maintenance bookkeeping. Okay, so bookkeeping company for small business owners that have no or they slacked on social media presence. Got it. And it matters because having people know about their business means more revenue. Yes. And especially for the bookkeeping, that I'm sorry, Sinai? Nai, like Mount Sinai. Nai. Thank you, Nai. So sorry for messing up your day like a million times. Okay, it matters because people want to know about their business, and I think that the revenue piece, Nye, is really important because of your people when you're talking to um, bookkeepers and about knowing their numbers. I think that's really like they really understand that perspective. I'm glad you can laugh at me. All right, moving on. Let's talk about your content kit. So we've established your clarity corner, and now we're going to get into your content kit. When I think about content for local business, there are three main types of content that pillars that I think every local business needs. The first pillar is promotional content. And I think this comes a lot easier for local businesses because our instinct is we want to share what we offer. But the missing piece that I see a lot of times when I audit local business accounts is that you're missing in your promotional content is that next step. Okay. So for Marisol, for instance, she can post about her cupcakes all day long, but if she doesn't put her location in that post, she's not going to get as much conversions. Okay. So we want to say, these are the best cupcakes in Niagara. We are the best cupcakes we're located in St. Catharines on King Street. Come on down and visit us. Like you want to give them that next step and assume that every single person who's looking at your post is looking at it for the very first time. Okay. So if someone just saw that post by itself for the first time, would they understand what do you sell? Who is it for? Why does it matter? And then what do they do next? Right. And so that next step is oftentimes the missing piece with these promotional posts. But it's one of three types of content pieces that local business owners could share. The second piece is educational content. Okay, educational content. So when I think about educational content, this is really positioning you, the business owner, as the expert in your field. You and your staff are the best at doing what you do for a reason. And we want to show that. Okay. So I did a consultation yesterday for a lash technician, and we were just chatting after I was giving her tips on how to create Instagram reels. And she has so much information about eyelash extensions that I wouldn't even think to ask. Okay. And I've only got them done one time, y'all. Not for me. But the thing that surprised me was how long I'm sitting there getting your lashes done or laying there. It's like a 3-4 hour process. Okay. So I think that when she's creating her content, she's assuming people know a lot of things. I was blown away by the amount of information she had on lash extensions, little things like how it's important to keep it dry, or how to brush them properly, or you can't put makeup directly on your lash extensions, or when to get them, refilled. So all of this information could be turned into social media posts, and I respected her more as a business owner hearing her talk about her experience because it put her solidly in the expert seat. So when you're thinking about your business as well, you want to share your expertise on social media. The last pillar of content are your stories. These are the connective pieces, the connective tissue that really builds that third space mentality when we're thinking about our local business, our local shop, our differentiation, right? So, for example, I have been visiting a coffee shop local to me a lot recently. Yes, they have the best coffee in town, but it's out of my way to go there. I passed probably like 5 or 6 other coffee shops to go there because I like the atmosphere, I like the owner, I like the stories behind the things that they do. And so for me, I'd rather go there than to like a Starbucks or a Tim Hortons because I relate to the stories. And we want to see those stories on social media. Okay, so this is what it looks like for Marisol. This is her content kit. She's going to start building out stories that build connection. Um, when cupcakes she's decorating fail, or loyal customers coming in and saying, I love this place because of insert reason here, or how she built a family recipe. Then she's going to layer in some educational posts built on trust. So she's going to talk about, when you buy, a dozen cakes, here's the best way to store it. Or here's why we use this certain ingredient because of this reason. Or here's a behind the scenes of preparing for a big order. Lastly, she's going to continue promoting and inviting people to come into the store. If she has a pre-order for a specific thing, she's going to remind people of that. If there are new menu items, she's going to remind people of that. If she's hiring, if she's doing event promotion, she's going to talk about that. And you can start off with a fairly equal balance of all of these, but I do find over time that you'll notice the types of posts that your community connects with best. So, for example, with my personal brand, most people want the stories. Okay. They want the stories that build connection, and that then can lead them to marketing. But if I go too heavy in education or too heavy in promotion, they don't really consume or engage with that content as much. Whereas I have a client who sells, they sold a fitness, a fitness wellness tool that helps with recovery. Their promotional post always got the most engagement. It always got the most energy. It always got the most shares and likes and all of that. And so it really depends on the brand for what works for you. All right, so we've talked about the clarity, we've talked about the content. Now we're going to talk about your digital brain. This is something that will save hours, hours, and hours of time. I have a whole course on this. Let me see. I'll put the link in the chat. It's $17 if you want to grab it. But I will say I'm going to go through the basics today. This has been this is a game changer. If you are doing this for your clients, or if you want to have your team all be on the same page, you have to build a digital brain. A digital brain is essentially where all of your content lives. Okay? Think of it as like a shared file cabinet for your brand. We're going to put in photos, we're going to put in videos, we're going to put in written blurbs, customers' questions and answers, behind the scenes moments, even old posts that perform really well. All of that goes into the digital brain. So when your team is like, where is that photo of our new cupcake again? Or how many hours are we going to be open for the holidays? What do we usually do? You're not answering that anymore as an owner because you've got it in your digital brain. When you create this system, whoever's helping you, again, could be the front desk staff, could be your assistant, could be your cousin, whoever's helping you can just go to the digital brain and create content from there. Okay. This keeps the content flowing without them needing to tap you on the shoulder every single time. So when I help people build out their digital brains, my goal is so that everyone on the team knows where to go when they know what they need to get. Okay. We're not starting from scratch every week. We have a hub for this, our digital filing cabinet. So here are a few things that you can include in your digital brain: your brand story and your talking points. So with Maddie Soul, if it's things about like her family history, we want to put that into the digital brain. We want to add in photos and videos. We want to add in visual and voice guides. So if you have certain fonts, colors, logos that you use, put it in your digital brain. We want to have our best performing past posts. We want to have caption templates. So if there's a specific format that you want to create for captions, or if you're Marisol, you probably have a ton of content already where you're like, this is what I usually do. Put that in the digital brain. And then any FAQs or any customer language, like if someone always asks, what are your holiday hours? You have a set response for that. Or what are the ingredients in this cupcake? You have a set response for that. Digital brains are living, breathing documents, and they don't have to be something stagnant. It is not something that you set it and forget it. As the owner, you're going to start the creation of it and facilitate that. But ideally, you have your team continuing to add to it. Now, I'm going to show you my digital brain, but what I will say is I've been building this digital brain for 2 years, and when I had a big team, it was a lot easier. Okay, so I don't want you to get overwhelmed by this. I'm going to show you how I would do it, and then I'm going to show you how Marisol would do it. And I'm sharing my Airtable base for this. So I use Airtable for my digital brain. And what I love about Airtable is it's like a spreadsheet that's fancy. Okay. So I'm going to show you all of the ways that that is, but I'm also putting the link to Airtable in the chat. That is my affiliate link. Um, and they have a free version. So this is my digital brain. So I have lots of things that I share in here. I have them categorized. So for example, this one's about the business of social media. It's something that I said somewhere. Let's see, let me click on this. This is something I said in a podcast, episode 248 of the podcast. And so my team heard this, saved this little clip here, and put it together so that I can have this as content going forward. Okay. You can put lots of stuff in here. So for example, I also have a video here. This is like a link to a Canva video. So share this tab instead. So this is just a video of me scrolling and looking at Canva that I can use for anything. So you can see how my team can come in and create content without me having to be creating it, filming it all the time. Okay. They have access to this. They can go in and then create content from this. Okay. This is the beautiful piece of the digital brain. Now, like I said, I use Airtable. I don't think everyone needs to use Airtable, but I do have that resource in the chat. If you want to learn how to use it, go to my website, search the word digital brain, and you'll find it. Marisol is not really a huge technology person, so she's actually just going to use Google Drive. Okay. And this is a perfectly acceptable way of using it. So when Marisol is going to get her cousin Anna, to come in, she's going to use Google Drive. She sets up all the folders. So she has brand photos. These are like the professional photos she had taken of everything. She has her short video clips, which she has been filming this whole time. She's just going to dump them all into there. Then she has caption ideas, little notes and things that she's going to copy and paste into there. She has all of her product info, so her cousin will know what's in stock and what's coming up and the pricing and the booking. And then she's going to put in past posts that her cousin can reuse at any time. The goal here is that the cousin can just pop in here and pull stuff out, and she's not going to be texting Marisol 6 times a day to ask where the photos are. Okay. The goal here is to have a system that even when she's busy and the store is slammed, the cousin knows where to go and find things. Okay. And it just has to be findable. It doesn't have to be complicated. I like Airtable, but you could do this in a Google Doc even. Like, you don't have to make it too complicated. Some people too even just share their like iPhone Photos app. If you both have iPhones, you can do that too. All right. The last step in this process of building out your system is to really define your team's roles. And this is the piece that a lot of business owners skip, and it can really lead to a lot of confusion because you hire your staff member and say, can you post something? But what are they supposed to post? Who's going to take the picture? Who's going to write the caption? Who's going to make sure it's aligned with the brand? And this is where the chaos can come in because there's so many elements to just posting on Instagram. So we're going to define all of these. Who's taking the pictures? If Marisol, for instance, is bringing her cousin in, but she still wants to take all of the pictures, that needs to be part of the conversation. Okay, who's taking the photos and videos? Marisol is still doing this. And even if you're the only one, it's good for you to know who's doing what and what are all the steps to just posting on Instagram, because it's never that easy, right? So who's capturing the content? Then who's uploading the content? This is no longer living in somebody's iPhone. We need to have a place where we're storing this. I like Google Drive. I like Airtable. Some people like Dropbox. Some people like just sharing iPhoto, iCloud folders. But you need to have a agreed upon organization tool for the content. And then you need a caption create, a place where you're putting all of your ideas. This could be a Google Doc. It could be an Airtable base. It could be, I don't know, anything. Notion. Lots of people use Notion for this. The point is we need to have an agreed upon place where you're drafting content. And then we need an approval process. Okay. Especially in the early days, if you, the business owner, are outsourcing your social media, you need to have eyes on it before it goes live. And so when does it happen? How does it happen? Who reviews it? How do we know when it's going to be reviewed? All of those questions need to be asked. And lastly, who's actually publishing the posts? Okay, who's pushing go? Do you have a scheduling tool? And then once it's live, who's responding to those comments? Whose role is that? Okay, so we want to make sure that all of these things are answered. So we'll get to Medisols in a second, but part of this role definition moment as well is to also get a rhythm to your content. Okay, this is the part that really helps because if you expect someone to come in and capture the content, edit it, write the caption, send it to you for approval, and then share it all in the same day, that's a heavy lift for a lot of people, and it can be intense. If this is someone that's already in your staff and someone who's there every day, that could be okay. You can set whatever rhythm you'd like, but every single section of this needs to have a rhythm. So I'll give an example of one. This is just an example. You get to set yours. So maybe Monday is the day that you go in and capture content, photos, videos, behind the scenes. You're just gathering it for your camera roll. And then Tuesday, you upload it to the digital brain and you organize it. You add a tag, you add a description. What are we looking at? Who's in the video? What's in the video? What's in the photo? All of those things, and you organize it. And then Wednesday, you sit down and to write some captions. We're not guessing on what things are happening. We're using the captions in our kit, or we're even using a tool like ChatGPT to help us write the captions. On Thursdays, we have the approval process. So, here's, 3 or 4 posts for next week. It's going to the owner. The owner knows on Thursdays they need to approve it or give feedback. And then on Friday, we schedule it for posting, right? We can schedule it natively or use a scheduling app for this. And maybe Fridays too, we're going in, we're making sure we're preparing for the week ahead. We have the comments flagged that need answered, all of those things, right? You can see how all of these different elements have an assigned date to them so that there's a rhythm. You get to decide how you want to do this. So for example, I personally would capture and organize on the same day and then probably write and send for approval on the same day. But you can do this however you'd like. Okay, so here's Marisol's. So Marisol is going to continue to take photos and videos and then send them to Anna. Anna's going to take that, her cousin, upload it to Google Drive and label it. And then Anna's going to start drafting the post using our caption starters and then send it over to Marisol. Marisol is going to review it and say it's good to go. And then Anna's going to schedule it to Instagram and then respond to any comments as it goes live. So you can see how this one post per week is all they need for their bakery right now. This is their rhythm. And now Marisol gets to keep doing what she likes to do, which is capturing the content, but it's not on her to continue posting it. You can also see how this doesn't need a massive team. It's really only going to take Anna a couple hours to get through this, maybe less as she starts getting into the rhythm of things. And if Marisol doesn't have time to take content that week, Anna has plenty to pull from in the digital brain. Okay, so she's in her flow. She knows if Marisol sends her something, great, she'll go ahead and post it. If not, she leans into the digital brain. Okay. All right, so let's do a live demo. I always get nervous with these live demos because it's a lot sometimes. But I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen for in a sec. And in the live demo, I'm going to walk through what each of these phases could look like. I'm going to really focus in on filming content on the spot. So how to get a great output when you're filming content with your phone. And then I'm going to also focus on editing as well. The goal behind this is to go into it with intention. We want to go into it with intention and practice. Okay, so all right, let me stop sharing my screen. Y'all can see me. Hi, and I'm using my phone. Okay, so I have an iPhone. There's my baby. I have an iPhone. I have also in the next slides, we'll talk a little bit about what to do if you have an Android. Okay, so when you're filming content, especially live in the store, there's a few things I want you to note. The first thing is I want you to note your lighting. Okay? A lot of people think that they don't have a good camera when in fact they don't have good lighting. Okay? So I want you to look at your lighting sources. So for me, I have 4 lights in front of me. That's why people are like, "Oh, your studio's so bright." It's so bright in here that when I'm not filming content, I turn off the lights because they're too bright. Okay? So I have lights in front of me and I also am in front of a window. So the window also has light. So make sure your lighting source is facing you, okay? You don't wanna be backlit. So we don't wanna have lights behind us. We wanna have the lights in front of us. So if you're filming your store, you wanna be in front of the window's behind you, and you wanna be in front of the window is lighting your way, okay? So yeah, your window's behind you, adding light if you're filming this way, all right? Now, when you're filming content, what I see a lot of people do if they do this motion, up and down and around and looking around, all around. We're not doing that, okay? When we're filming content, I'm gonna stand up and show you. When we're filming content, I want us to do this, okay? It's very slow. It's a slow motion movement, okay? We are not going like this up and down all around. We're moving very slowly. Tuck your elbows in and use that. Your elbows are almost like your tripod. Tuck them into your body and don't move your body. You'll notice that I'm going to do it again. You'll notice that when I move, I'm not moving the phone, I'm moving my body. I think I said that backwards earlier. I'm not moving the phone, I'm moving my body. So I'll do it one more time so you can see. Okay? My elbows are tucked in. I have my phone here. Get a pop socket for stability. Elbows tucked in. I have my phone stable and I'm moving my body, not my phone. The phone is just moving with my body, okay? That's the best way to get content. And when you're thinking about this for your videos as well, movement sells. It's a human psychological thing. We like to see movement, okay? We don't want to see just stagnation. So photos are okay, videos are better. Slight movements will make all the difference. All right? We can all do this. All right. So when you're filming as well, film in a little bit longer than you need to. And I will say this, me personally, I have a really hard time talking and filming in public. Anyone else feel this way? I have a really hard time talking and filming in public. I can do it. I get really nervous and really sweaty, and it's just not really my thing. So I end up filming a lot of what I call B-roll content. I'll put a link into the chat for that type of content that I film. But I end up filming a lot of B-roll content, and the B-roll content can then be it goes into my digital brain, it can be repurposed and used again and again. Okay, so that's how I film content. Now I want to talk about editing, and I'm going to share my screen for this. Unfortunately, I can't share it when the camera is live. But the app and I'll talk about more apps in a second. The app that I'm going to use today is called Instagram Edits. Okay, Instagram Edits. Have y'all used this one? It is very similar to CapCut in a way, and it's not. It's free though. It's Instagram's own app. So I'm going to share my phone, and we're going to walk through Instagram Edits. All right, so I'm going to hit the plus sign at the bottom and go to my gallery. And then from here, I'm going to pull in some videos. I just recently saved some random ones. We're going to add those to our edits. Okay, so any clips that you have, add them into your edit so that you can edit from here. Now, I always get the question, do we film in the app or on our phones? We are always filming on our phones. Please don't film in the app. The app will just gobble up your video and you'll never see it again. Okay, so we're filming in our phone and we're saving that content somewhere else. I use Google Photos a lot. And then from here, we're gonna edit it. So you can see here, this is me at Palms Coffee Bar in Welland, Ontario. I got my friend Meg to help me film some random things. Okay, so this is like content that I would use for social media. I'm just adding in 4 clips here so you can see how this works. Now, for a lot of these, I end up trimming them. So you can take this yellow bar, trim it this way, and take it from this side and trim it down. Typically, any video that you post on social media, we want it to be 60 seconds or less, but short videos work really well. So this video, I'd probably get to be like 15 seconds. So 5 seconds for each clip, and maybe I record a little voiceover to go over. Oh, there's too many clips. Oops. No transitions, just trimming these down a little bit so you can see how that works, okay? The other thing you can do right here within the Edits app is we can add in a lot of different features, okay? We can add in a filter. So let's say we wanna give it a certain vibe, okay? So let's say we want it to be indigo, okay? So you see how this already is starting to look a little bit different, and I want all of the clips to have this filter, so I'm gonna check that box and hit this check mark, and now all of the clips have this indigo filter on top. Now, let's say you wanted to add in text. You can add text here. Typically, I do recommend having some sort of text. So if I wanted to do like POV, when you find a coffee bar that is also a plant, garden center. I think that's what they are. Okay, so that's what I have there. Now you can see the text is kind of hard to see, so I usually click this A option over here until I get the background. You can also click this A option here and you'll get all of the various fonts. They honestly have too many. To me, they feel a lot like the same. There's not a lot of variety, but whatever. So if that's the font that I'm using, that's the font that I'm using. You can also um, drag and drop, and you'll see as you drag, the yellow bars are telling you where your no-go zones are. So for this one, I will probably actually make this a little bit smaller. And if you're on the app, I'm on my phone right now, or on my computer right now, but in the app, you can pinch this and it'll go smaller. Okay. The other thing that you can do here is do a voiceover. I think voiceovers are great. So if you, the owner, are creating the content, you can just create the voiceover, send it to your team to post. If your team has created this content, it gets a little bit trickier, but you could use something like Canva to add in the voiceover. Okay. Now the text you can have pop up in multiple places, or you can drag and drop so it's on the screen for the entirety of the video. Okay. The cool thing about edits as well is you can add in some of those trending sounds. So the audios that, people have on their Instagrams, you can go ahead and add in, some sort of music to the background. Typically, I would recommend doing this as much as possible, especially for something like Instagram Reels. If that's your primary platform, having the audios is a great way to be picked up more by the algorithm. Last thing I'll show here is you can replace things as you're editing. So if I click on this video and go, man, I don't really want this one, I want a different video here, you go over to replace, and then you can just pick a different video. So here's one that I filmed on a different day. So that video could be replaced with that one, okay? And away you go. So from here, I would export it, I would save it to my phone, and I would add it to my digital brain. All right, let's go ahead and go back to our slides as we wrap up our session today. Here we go. Let me just check my notes for the live demo. 10-second clips, usually that's what I aim for when I'm filming. If you do walk and talk, make sure that your audio is good. So typically your phones do collect a lot of great audio now. Modern technology is great for that. You can purchase an external mic. A lot of people like those little mics. They're on Amazon. You can get them. You can get a tripod if you want. This is one that I got off Amazon. They're not that expensive. I think this was $20. That can be very helpful as well. But lighting and audio are usually your best. Yeah, they're usually the thing that'll take your videos to the next level. And make sure you film the clips with enough variety that you can use them again. Okay. This is why I like to use B-roll and not talking, because talking clips, you really only can use it the one time. But if it's B-roll, you can continue to use it all season long or every single season. You'll notice this with Starbucks. Starbucks, when it's pumpkin spice latte season, they add in a few new things, but they're reusing content out the wazoo. Okay. When the holiday seasons come up, same thing. They reuse that content. They just add in a few new things and away they go. So you can do that too. All right. Okay. Let's move on to our camera settings. If you're team iPhone, type team iPhone in the chat. If you're team Android, type team Android in the chat. I'm team iPhone, okay? iPhone, always have been, always will be. But if you have an Android, I'm sorry for you. And also, here's how you get the correct settings on your phone. So if you're in your phone, you want to go ahead and swipe over to video, and then make sure in the upper right-hand corner, it says 4K. Right? This will get you really crisp video. I will say this though, these videos take a lot of space, so really make sure you're backing up to the cloud or to Google Drive, but this gives you the highest quality video possible. Okay, if you are team iPhone, process is similar. Open up your camera app, toggle over to video, and then at the top you should see 4K. Okay, you should see 4K. If you see HD, you're in HD mode. 4K mode gives a little bit of a crisper video. I see team iPhone in the chat. Thank you, thank you. So this gets you the best video. All right, let's talk about software. I'm going to put a bunch of links in the chat for these, but when we're editing, usually I recommend Instagram edits these days. It is free and it has a lot of features. Of course, they want you to post over to Instagram, but you don't have to. You can download the video. The only caveat is some of the audio isn't available outside of the app for legal purposes. And so a lot of times when I'm working with clients this way, we'll create the video on Instagram edit, send it for approval. But as we send it for approval, we'll just say we're going to add in a sound when this goes live. And if we can link to that sound, we'll link to that sound. You can use Canva. Canva's video editing capabilities have drastically improved in the last 2 years. A lot of my clients who are agency owners or social media managers use Canva because there's a lot more design elements you can add. Canva also has audio now, and they have stock video. If you have a paid or premium account, their stock video is quite nice. And so especially if you have a team doing this for you or you're doing it for clients, the stock video can be very helpful. Lastly, I will recommend CapCut. I used to recommend it a lot more before Instagram edits came out, but I do find that if you are TikTok heavy, because CapCut is owned by ByteDance, which is the same company that owns TikTok, they have a lot of the TikTok sounds and TikTok like filters built in. And so especially if someone's helping you with your TikTok, having CapCut can be very helpful because you can essentially have a shared drafts folder instead of relying on someone else's phone. Other apps for content planning and organization, I use Airtable. Um, some people use Notion. I feel like we're the same person with different brains. So if Airtable works for you, use it. If Notion works for you, use it. Google Suite is a great option. Google Docs, Google Presentation, Google Slides, Google Sheets. They can all work really well for content planning and organization. And then we're talking about content scheduling. The app that I recommend is Metricool. I like them for their content planning and scheduling. You can schedule to multiple apps at the same time. So if you have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I don't know, X, Blue Sky, Threads, if you want to post to all of those places, you could do that with a tool like Metricool. It's not free. There is a fee to it. Oh, no, they do have a free account. They have a free account that's very robust. But it's the one that I use and recommend. I also recommend Later if you are Instagram focused. I think that they are great. And I'm going to put links to the ones that I'm affiliated with in the chat. Feel free to check them out for yourself. All right, last thing we're going to do is look through some examples. While I'm showing these examples, if any of you have questions or comments, please put them in the chat. Now is the time to get your comments and questions answered. All right, first example is from a company called Central Pearl here in Fort Erie. I'm actually going to pull up these posts as we go through them so you can see them in the wild. But this is the central pearl. Uh-oh. You know what? I can't do that because it's Instagram. Instagram won't ever let me share. Do y'all see that now? Hold on. Let me go back to Riverside. Yes. Okay, good. Oh my gosh. It's Instagram. Really annoying. All right. This is Central Pearl. What I loved about this post is it's a great storytelling post. First of all, their storefront is gorgeous. Just point blank, period. Look at all of that yarn. If you're even slightly interested in yarn or crocheting, it's amazing. But I like this for the storytelling as well. I love this space, and I'm so proud of the community we've built and continue to build every single day. This is a storytelling post, okay? When you look at the comments, everyone is saying, we love this space too. Well said. And so this is the type of reaction I want your community to feel every time you post. This post is not promoting anything directly. And you'll notice that she's not saying, come into the store today and buy some yarn. She's saying, I love my community because of the friendships, because of the crafting, the laughter, the stories, the inspiration we all share. There's a really beautiful example of storytelling in your community. Okay. All right, next post. This post is a promotional post. I'm just going to actually leave this Instagram up on the screen since it's being funny today, but this is a promotional post from Lasting Impressions in Ridgeway, which is also in Fort Erie. They do such a funny example of their social media accounts. This is a promotional post because even though it's funny, they're saying, come on in. And what I wanted to highlight about this post is they put their address and their hours. I see this happens so often with local businesses. They say, come in today, but you don't know where they're located. And so if someone were to see this post for the first time, I want them to know who and what and where they should be going. Okay, so this is a great example of that. And you can see people in the comments just having a grand old time with them in that post. All right, next post is going to be also a promotional post. And the example is going to be of a seasonal promotion. So what I liked about this is they not only took they didn't just say what their promotional offers were, they're actually showing it to us. So this is Black Sheep Coffee in Niagara, and they're talking about their different seasonal coffees. We've got the traditional pumpkin spice latte, we've got a pumpkin chai, and we also have some non-traditional options like peaches and cream matcha and a toasted marshmallow latte, which is calling my name, y'all. I want this toasted marshmallow so much. I'm literally going to go out of my way to get this toasted marshmallow. But this is a great example because they didn't just take the picture, but they added text. And this is very easy to do inside of Canva. Okay, so they have the arrows in Canva, they have the ability to add text. So we have multiple layers here. You can take the photo, but then you can also add text to the photo to illustrate the point. The other thing that I liked about this post is that they added in more educational content here. So yes, it's a seasonal promotion, but they're telling us what is in each specific drink. So the peaches and cream matcha has a peach syrup and it's combined with this tea. The toasted marshmallow latte tastes like a campfire in a cup, and they have it simple syrup, espresso, and milk. Okay, so when you look at these, you know what you're getting because they've educated you on that process. All right, another example of an educational post. This one comes from Beechwood Donuts in St. Catharines. I believe all their donuts are vegan as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they are amazing. Like, look at these decadent donuts. Now, they added in some slides here so you can see they're illustrating the point. They're putting the donuts into a box, and we're taping the box or the the bag. We're stapling the bag together and we're handing the bag to the delivery person. So they're letting you know through their storytelling and the photos alone that they do delivery, but they're also educating you in the caption on the delivery option. So if you place an order that's over $20, delivery is free. Whew, to the entire Niagara region, this can get dangerous, y'all. These are the dates, so educating you on this, and your delivery can arrive at any time. So this is a very educational post for anyone who wants to know about ordering these donuts. Now they know. Okay. All right, here's an example. The next example is going to be from Rizzo House of Parm, which is in Ridgeway. This is just an example of a story. They're not promoting come into Rizzo's House of Parm, but they're kind of using photography here for storytelling. It's a behind the scenes moment captured with the chefs, and the caption says, "Toss and penne with the people you love doesn't get any better." Okay. You can see all the beautiful comments too. There is a question: do you guys do six-person bookings? And the answer, we sure do. So this is them kind of promoting in the caption, but you'll see all of these comments here, people tagging because of their storytelling. Here's another example. This one's going to be of educational content. What I liked about this one was the slideshow element. So this is about mindfulness in your healing journey. And this creator put together what is mindfulness, why does it matter for recovery, the science of mindfulness. This is a very educational post, and in fact gives you mindfulness practices that you can do every day. And then at the end, follow us for more. Okay. So they're not necessarily saying, come into our practice, buy our options for mindfulness and recovery. They're teaching you first what it even is. So for someone who's considering this as something that they may need, positioning themselves as the expert here is a really strategic option, especially for a service as intimate as therapy. All right. Last post is also a collaboration post. You'll notice this is a collaboration post between two businesses. I want to show you another example of this because I think this is the biggest opportunity for local business that I see. When we're talking about creating content for our local community, sometimes we try to create in isolation. And I think Capri I think they're in Lane Fleet. They do such a good job of this where they talk about their offers, but they also collaborate with other business owners. In this instance, it's with, I believe, a real estate agent. And you can see them all of the clips put together. I think this is such a great example of how when you create your digital brain, the social media manager behind the digital brain can very easily go in and put together a story with the various clips. We've got clips of the outside, we have clips of the beach that they're near, we have clips, oh, this is at Shirkston. We have clips of the actual food that they're eating, we have clips of the patio. So this could be all very helpful ways for that social media manager to put together a reel without the owner needing to be involved in the entire process. All right. So as we wrap up today, I do want to invite you to go ahead and get a free audit with me. Now, the free audit is only for local businesses. I don't want everyone to try to jump in on this. You got to be local. But if you want personalized feedback on your current social media setup, this is for you. I will give you suggestions for the system structures and some training gaps as well. So not only am I looking at your social media accounts, I'm going to give you some guidance on how you can set up your digital brain and how you can capture, create, and post more variety of content. I will be creating a short video, and then there'll also be some written summary and resources to go along with it. And I'll be sending it within 7 business days. Yes, it's 100% free. Okay, you just go to onlinedrea.com/train my team, and I'll put that link as train-my-team, and I'll put that link in the chat as well, and you can get a free audit with me. If it feels like a fit, then we can also from there talk about working together. My goal is I want to help local businesses, and a lot of this came from being in my local town of 40 area, looking around and going, "Man, I feel like we could really be a destination, and I wanna help local businesses be that." So, if that's interesting for you, check out the link. If not, this entire session gave you such a great place to start when it comes to getting support with your social media. So I'm really excited to see how you use your digital brain, how you build out a content clarity plan, and how you start capturing content and storing it and then using it with intention without you, the owner, getting caught up in the details. All right, thank you so much for your session today. I didn't see any questions come in, but if you're watching the replay, feel free to put your questions in the chat and make sure you stay tuned. I have more plans to do live sessions soon, so I'll see you very soon. That's all for